Good morning, and on behalf of the Oklahoma Department of CareerTech, I would like to welcome you. We are so excited to have you join us for our November Oklahoma Education and Industry Partnerships, or OEIP, monthly virtual event. My name is Kara Pattison, and I'm one of 8 regional coordinators at the Oklahoma Department of CareerTech. We serve as a liaison between the state agency and school administrators at K-12 schools and technology centers across Oklahoma. And speaking of our Oklahoma schools, if you're a teacher on today's session with your classroom, please type your name, school, and what class you're teaching in the chat so we can give you and your students a shout out here in a minute or two. While they're doing that, I would like to make a few introductions. Please give us a wave if I say your name. I have a few virtual OEIP team members on today that are working diligently both on screen and behind the scenes in order to make this event happen. My fellow regional coordinators, Brian Campbell, Whitney Blaylock, Karen Talbot, Patrick Clannon, and Lori Loffer. Is there anyone I missed? They're all on here today. In addition, our manager, Gina Hubbard, is present today. Give us a wave, Gina. Thanks. And from our health division, we have Lara Morris. Laura, are any of your peeps on here today?
I can see a number of people that I know are on here today. Any of my health staff? No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll tell them we missed them.
Okay, I will.
Finally, I'd like to give a shout out to the classroom students and their instructors joining us today that said hello in the chat. Patrick, who do we see in the chat today and where are they from?
You know, I'm looking at the chat and I'm not seeing anything right now. So if I'm missing something, help me here.
Okay. Sometimes they're shy.
Nope, not at this point.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
The goal of our OEIP sessions is to provide insight for educators so they better understand what our industry needs are in Oklahoma, and they can then in turn bring these meaningful career experiences and information to their students. I would like to say that we could not host events like today's without our fantastic sponsors, and we would like to extend a huge thank you to them at this time. Brian, will you please announce our sponsors?
You're muted, Brian.
You muted.
My apologies. I get carried away and off I go. And but our sponsors are now listed on your screen, and they include Tech Labs, the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education, Oklahoma CareerTech Health Division, and Canadian Valley Technology Center. Thank you to all of our sponsors.
Thank you, Brian. Because of this great group of sponsors, we will be able to announce the names of 2 registered participants who will be the lucky drawing winners at the end of today's session. So turn on your cameras and interact with us so we know you're here, and make sure you stay with us until the end to be considered for the prizes. And finally, before I introduce today's first speaker, I have 2 minor housekeeping items. First, if you have questions for a presenter, please type the question in the chat or hold on to it until the speaker is done with her presentation. We will pause after each speaker for 1 or 2 minutes and give you an opportunity to ask those questions, or Karen will read your question aloud that you typed in the chat. And second, please know that we will share speakers' contact information, handouts, registration links for future sessions, and other relevant information via email after today's session ends. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Our first speaker is Lara Morris. She is the Health Careers Manager at the Oklahoma Department of CareerTech and a wealth of knowledge on all things nursing and health careers related. Lara serves as the Health Careers Education Program Manager at our agency, a job she has enjoyed for over 21 years. Prior to this, Lara was a certified athletic trainer and high school teacher at Enid High School and worked at ODCTE as the Health Certification Project Coordinator. Lara has been very involved with HOSA, Future Health Professionals on a national level, during her career and is especially proud of her role in the development of the Health Science Educators Association, the teacher's organizational branch off of the National Consortium for Health Science Education, where she currently serves as the chair of the board of directors. Laura and her husband Jamie have 2 daughters, Michaela, 23, and McKenna, 16, and one very spoiled Yorkie named Connor, who rules the roost. Welcome, Laura. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. So when Kara and I visited about what she wanted me to talk about, she said the focus of the day was nursing. So that's what you're going to get, is the focus of the day. And any of you who know me, knowing focusing for the day is kind of difficult for me at times. So she's no dummy. She knows to rein me in if at all possible. So I would like to share a little bit about CareerTech, specifically our nursing pathway, the different kinds of programs that we have. I'm going to share my screen. This is always fun. I feel like a drum roll should happen because I always forget the share button after I've talked the big talk. But you should see a really bright and exciting handout. Do you see that, Kara? Can you see that? Great. Then I will just talk off of the handout for the most part. So we have, there's so many opportunities in nursing. That's probably the best way to start. And there is something out there truly for everyone. The one thing that nursing offers that many other career paths do not is an actual career ladder and with stackable credentials. So that was one thing I just wanted to share with everyone today. In full-time programs, which is what I typically work with the most, we have long-term care nurse aid is something that's taught in almost every one of our schools. We have a core curriculum that is taught, and then almost every program offers long-term care nurse aid. Why? Because we need them. That's the most important reason. There is a huge deficit, and frankly, there always has been a huge deficit of long-term care nurse aides. We need many more by the bedside, and so we continue to train, and hopefully those students who've been trained will also test, and most of them will take the long-term care nurse aid exam with the State Department of Health and CareerTech testing. That's the partnership that does the testing for those. But I will say that most of our programs also offer that additional 16 hours of home health care content so that students can actually leave with 2 credentials, long-term care and home health care. So after a nurse aide is the nurse aide certification is required in a number of different entities. If you're wanting into a LPN program, an RN program, an AUA, Advanced Unlicensed Assistant program, being certified as a long-term care nurse aide is required for most of those as either a prerequisite or a co-requisite to the course. So it is something that truly is an indicator on whether or not you will be interested in nursing, if nursing really is a career that you would enjoy. I'm supposed to talk a little bit about money for each one of these positions. Right now, long-term care nurse aides are pretty much, and I'll allow Sharon to correct me after I'm finished, but I would say minimum wage, $10 an hour. Sometimes they're getting a little bit higher than that, depending on the facility. But that's one of the downfalls of long-term care nurse aide, and one of the reasons that we don't necessarily see it as a terminal endpoint, a credential to last someone for the rest of their lives. That it does move into many other credentials beautifully, and that specific next one would be certified medication aid, the orange box. And it requires, a certified medication aid requires for the long-term care nurse aide to have 6 months experience before they can enroll in the class. Once they've enrolled in the class, then they can get certified medication aids, a 45-hour class. They can also add one of 3 advanced areas, which includes glucose monitoring, insulin administration, and respiratory or gastro. So there's different options as well. Those don't show up as individual credentials necessarily. You take the coursework and it is added, it's in your file, I guess you would say, that you've completed those. I don't believe that someone has to take an actual test after that. Sometimes I've heard lots of nurse aides say that they become CMAs because it gives them another 50 cents to $1 an hour pay boost, which is great. And these are individuals who do just like it says. They pass medications. So that they have to be screened by the instructor, and they actually demonstrate skill in passing medications to residents for their clinical experience. That is the end goal, is that we see them actually passing medication or checking the glucose, administering insulin, etc. The next credential that you could go for would be an advanced unlicensed assistant. Now, I have to tell you that this, as bad as that name sounds, it used to be worse. I know it's hard to even imagine, but it's true. It used to be called unlicensed assistive personnel, a UAP. And I don't know, the whole point of the word unlicensed in there is the Board of Nursing wanted to be very clear that these were not people that were held to nursing licensure. So therefore, they made the name say unlicensed. This is what I would consider an acute care nurse aide, someone who would work in a hospital setting. And they do have a step up in the level of skills that they are required to do. And again, those are skills that take place in a hospital type setting, acute care hospital setting. These are regulated by the Board of Nursing. And again, I'm not completely confident, but I do believe that you get another couple dollars, $12, $15, if you want to be an AUA. We have about 10 programs across the state that are approved by the Board of Nursing, and those are great. Those are great positions. You may also hear them called patient care technicians. It's the same thing as an AUA. It just depends on what that hospital terms that caregiver. So the very next thing is the licensed practical nurse in the lavender. I'm going with lavender. It might be purple. I don't really know, but I'm going with lavender here. That we do in career tech education a lot of training. We have over, I want to say 25, at least maybe 27 of our 29 technology center districts offer licensed practical nurse as a career option. This is a nurse that does not have any collegiate experience. They do not have to go to college to learn, but they do a fantastic job at the bedside. That's one thing that we're really known for. Is in Oklahoma, we have very high pass rates on the Board of Nursing, for the NCLEX LPN exam. We have the students we get, we almost always have an excellent pass rate with, And those are nurses that are ready to hit the ground running. They used to, in the last 10, 12 years, they got away from working in acute care and were working mostly as a nurse manager in the long-term care facilities. And within the last, I'd say the last 4 years or so, ever since COVID, a lot of LPN graduates, people who are licensed, have the opportunity to work in acute care now. Depending on the size of the hospital, sometimes that's the only caveat. What they've discovered is that while having that degree is a fantastic opportunity for nurses, the people who really know how to get in there and care for a patient confidently is every bit as important. And so consequently, that's why the number of LPNs we have, we are trying to expand our numbers that are out there. And they do take a national exam called the NCLEX PN, or Licensed Practical Nurse, prior to their licensure, which is governed by the Board of Nursing. Now, there's a sneaky little thing that doesn't really exist yet, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. We have been working with the legislature and the Board of Nursing and anyone who will listen to CareerTech. We believe that we could do registered nurse training. It's called Diploma RN in the career and technology system. We are working currently on a curriculum that would work for individuals who had gone through our LPN program. So we're looking at piloting a program, if we can get that opportunity okayed by the hear-alls, be-alls. We would love to offer RN training at our technology centers to our LPN graduates. And what that they would sit for the exact same registered nurse exam that associate degree and baccalaureate degree nurses sit for. And we would be able to do it in about 6 months. So like I said, that's kind of tentative right now. We are looking at doing a pilot project and some more on that later. I didn't mention LPNs usually start around $15 an hour, 15 to 18. All of this is so dependent on what opportunities are in your local area and so on. So currently how it is set up is the registered nurse can go 2 different pathways. You can choose to go through an associate degree pathway or a bachelor's degree pathway. Either way, you sit for the same exam. If you go as an associate degree registered nurse, you sit for your exam and you pass it, you can go on and get your baccalaureate degree, and you don't have to take any additional another nursing exam. You would just finish your coursework in baccalaureate nursing, and that would, typically that raises your pay from an associate degree RN to a baccalaureate degree RN. There also is a pay increase. And then I don't want to leave out the granddaddy of them all down here in the green is a master's in nursing. There's different options. When I look at the jobs that are available across the state of Oklahoma, this is an area where we have a number of job openings and will continue to have for quite some time. Certified nurse practitioners, a clinical nurse specialist, a nurse anesthetist, I never can say that word, and a certified nurse midwife. Those are the different options that people who want to go on and get their master's in nursing, that's the areas that they can get their master's in. So with all that said, I don't know how I am on time. Okay, I think I'm right on the money, but I'd be happy to entertain any questions anyone has, or I don't know, maybe it was a snooze fest. There's a lot of options out there. I thought the colors might help, it is, yeah, but so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Laura, what are kind of in Oklahoma, what are some of the average salaries for the LPN and the RN?
Now, I'm going to go off of what information we get here for LPNs, and I want to say it's around between $15 and $20. I could be wrong. So I would love for someone out there who is an LPN to correct me if I'm wrong. I can tell you that registered nurses can make, I heard my PN instructors the other day talking about, what are you paying for adjunct instructors? If someone wants to come and they want to go with your students to clinicals, or they want to help do skills checks or whatever. And they said, depending on the school, they were paying between $25 and $40 an hour for a registered nurse to come and do those kinds of things. Now, I can tell you, my sister is a master's prepared nurse with many years experience, and I'm going to say that it's closer to the $35 an hour as a kind of an average, and that's with a number of years of experience. Now, mind you, the beauty of nursing too is you get shift differential. So if you choose to work a shift that no one else wants to work, you might make more money. If you choose to work in a location where people don't particularly want to work, you might make more money. If you want to be a traveling nurse, I don't even know how much they make. I've heard industry people say they're paying over $80 an hour to hire someone in from out of state. But this is what's funny. I actually talked to one of my brand new teachers who was a traveling nurse, and he says it's really hard not to want to moonlight sometimes, because he said, I actually live in this town and I'm just an hour away from Tulsa, and they will pay me travelers' wages to go to Tulsa and work for 3 weeks. But that's the thing, they're all short contracts, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. And so there are people that are doing that right in our own state that are traveling, even though they probably could go home at night. So it is the desperation for nursing is actually, we're hitting it right about now. We've been saying all along, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Everyone's going to retire and it's going to happen. And then everyone stayed in with COVID, and now everyone's like, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya, I'm out. And I held off retiring during COVID, but now I'm ready to retire. And so there's so many openings. Gina, let's see. Okay, so can you explain what a PRN schedule means? Is that higher wage without benefits? Yeah, look, you just described it. So it's when a nurse doesn't work full time for someone, but they pick up shifts wherever they can. And we do have, depending on the individual, they may have insurance with a husband or wife, another spouse, and so they may not need insurance. And this is a great opportunity to them. Any other questions? Now, I fully expect for my people coming after me to correct me on my information that I did not know, because the thing about nursing is the information's only as good as what I just heard yesterday. So who knows? I may be wrong on some of this, but I do have this framework that I love and the pretty that I shared with everyone that I'd be happy to share again with you, Kara. So you can, or I'll maybe I'll put it in the chat. How about that? That would probably be better. Okay. So in no other questions, I'll stop then. Thank you.
Laura, if you'll email that to me, I can send it out to all the registered participants.
Perfect.
So, well, Laura, thank you so much for presenting today. We just value you and we love working with you and we think you're the best. So thank you. We value the work you do to train tomorrow's nurses. So now that we've heard from Laura, I'd like to introduce Counselor Extraordinaire, Carrie Brunk. Carrie has been an educator for 25 years. She began her career as a high school science teacher before transitioning to the life of a middle school counselor, and then joined Canadian Valley Technology Center as a counselor on their El Reno campus. In her 13 years at CareerTech, Carrie has a wide range of experience in serving as counselor for nearly every tech program. Currently, she is the counselor for adult full-time health programs at CareerTech's Cowan campus in Yukon. Carrie and her husband have two busy high school-age children that keep their evening booked with activities. I'm so excited she's here today with us and can't wait to hear what she has to say as she takes us on a nursing career path journey. Carrie, the mic is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Kara. I am just going to really kind of pick up where Laura left off, just kind of get into the more specific areas of the same thing, directly related to CareerTech. So I just want to start with kind of outlining how we're structured at CareerTech with our full-time programs. We offer our health careers program to high school students. And that program includes the CNA, AUA, phlebotomy tech, and monitor tech certifications over a span of 2 years. That program does not admit adult students. We offer all of those certifications in one form or another as standalone classes to adult students. So that better fits those adults and their needs to take those classes separately as they see fit. So our adult programs, full-time programs, are our LPN, Surge Tech, Medical Assistant, which we do accept some high school seniors into Medical Assistant. And then we have the medical office with our patient account rep and medical coding as well. So what I'm going to focus on is the nursing. And so our LPN program is a little bit different than most LPN programs across the state in that it is an open enrollment and individualized program. So let me start with individualized. Individualized means that it is not a lecture format. It is students working independently on their coursework, mainly their book work, and then scheduling labs and skills in small groups of 1 to 3 students with an instructor, and then scheduling their clinicals as they get to those areas in their curriculum. And then that program does not have any prerequisite coursework that's required to be admitted. There are testing requirements, and then, you know, your immunizations and diplomas and all that kind of stuff that's required. But those students are entering a program that everything, all the coursework is built into that plan, that coursework plan. And so the average completion time, the completion time does vary from student to student because it is an individualized program. But the average completion time for that program is 18 to 22 months. Any questions about how that program works so far? That's a booger sometimes because it's not traditional, which makes it work for a lot of students. Okay, so moving on. And all of our programs at CareerTech are individualized. And so once our students finish, well, I want to go back and talk about the types of students that we have in our program. So because it's a non-traditional program in that it's individualized, sometimes, well, it caters to a lot of different students. We get adult students who have applied many times to RN programs and they can't get in, whether it's their test scores or whether it's their GPA. They don't have enough preference points on a wait list to avoid being bumped down that wait list and then to be admitted. So those RN wait lists are based on preference points for the things that I've mentioned, test scores, GPA, things like that. And so someone can be on the wait list, someone comes along who has better test scores, has better grades, and they're going to bump them down the wait list. And so those students struggle to get in. They've applied for years to RN programs and have not been able to be admitted. And so they are coming to get their LPN in order to get more preference points in an RN program, in the admission process for an RN program. So we have that student. We also have the student who's right out of high school who has been through maybe our health careers program, and they're just moving on up. Some have a goal of being an RN, some have a goal of being an LPN. But either way, this is a step in the right direction. So we have a wide range of ages as far as our students are concerned in the same classroom. And so that's a great opportunity for all those students, I believe. And then I want to talk about where do students go after LPN? So we've talked about the higher degrees, but there are different, whether it's a 2-year RN or a BSN, there are different routes to get to either one of those. And so when I first started enrolling for LPN, I knew of bridge programs that took students from LPN to the 2-year associate's degree RN. In the last few years, it has become, I don't know that more popular is the right term. It's not. I don't know. It has come about in our languages and our conversations of the LPN to BSN. And the one that Canadian Valley is most involved with is the program at Southwestern. And so that program is an online LPN to BSN program that students can complete in 1 calendar year. They have 5 8-week sessions of classes. They are required to have their LPN as well as their gen ed requirements, and then there's a few prereqs. And those prereqs, they're actually not prereqs because you can do them after you're admitted. You just have to have them done before you start clinicals. So that is, the Southwestern is someone we have a partnership with, and we work closely with referring our students to them. I don't think that our students get preference with them, but we do have a partnership as far as working with Southwestern to align our programs. I think that is all I had, was just to cover Canadian Valley, how we're structured, how we're a little bit different than other programs. I think that's it. Any questions?
Yes, you do have one about theory with those students. Do they do that theory remotely, or do they do that theory in class?
I'm assuming this question is about CareerTech's LPN program.
Correct.
Okay, so they do it in class. So our students classes meet, it is an in-person program. It is not, it's not an online program. Our students have classes 8 o'clock to 3:15 Monday through Friday. We do offer a little bit of flexibility in that schedule, in that students are only required to maintain 24 hours of seat time per week. So they're allowed to do things like come in at 9 every day, leave at 2 every day, take an afternoon for a doctor's appointment, all of that without being penalized for attendance, as long as they have their 24 hours a week of seat time. It's even possible to squeeze all of their 24 hours into 4 days, but that's kind of difficult because you have no wiggle room if you do that. But we do have students that do that. So it allows that non-traditional student to still maintain their family structure as far as dropping kids off at school, picking kids up from school, things like that. But they do all of their, they do everything in class. So even though they're working independently, their instructors are there to help them. So that process goes pretty smoothly. It's just a non-traditional. Those of us who went through school in a traditional setting, it's difficult to visualize, imagine a classroom that's silent, that students are working, and there is not group instruction going on. There's small group instruction and independent schedules, but it works.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. And I know the students appreciate that flexibility with their families for sure.
Do we have any other questions for Carrie? Okay. Well, Carrie, I have to say that you came very highly recommended by our next speaker, Sharon Mitchell, to present today. And I think we can all agree, you know your stuff, you're a great asset to students interested in health careers. So our final speaker will be the one and only health careers guru and someone very special to me, Sharon Mitchell. She started her 30th year at CareerTech this year. In that time, she has been a classroom educator, adult coordinator, and health coordinator during her tenure here, and has worked on all 3 of the CareerTech district campuses. Prior to coming to CareerTech, Sharon was a floor nurse at Baptist Medical Center and an endoscopy nurse for gastroenterology of Oklahoma. She has been married to her husband, Lonnie, for 50 years and has 2 successful, awesome adult children and 4 of the most amazing grandchildren. I guarantee they're not spoiled, ages 14, 11, 8, and 7. She is doing some interesting things at Canadian Valley Technology Center, and we're excited to hear about them. Sharon, take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Lara and Carrie. You guys were awesome. We do things differently at Canadian Valley. I'm just going to say that. We have an administration that backs us up and allows us to use our creativity to meet the needs of our students and our business partners. I am a short-term adult coordinator. So I deal only with short-term courses, and those are any courses under 600 hours that we have that we currently offer to adult students. Now, we will take high school students if they're 16 or above. There is no high school credit attached to what we teach in the short-term arena, and students know that. We do get several homeschool students at the time. And one of the questions you may ask about that is, well, they're 16. Do you screen everybody and make sure everybody is going to be compatible in that classroom? The question we ask students when they want to enroll in a healthcare class is, do you enjoy health and science classes? And do you reasonably do well in math? That's the biggest question we ask them. Because a lot of students will say, oh, I don't like science. I don't like that gory stuff. I don't want to do it. So we know that is not for them. So we push them in other directions if they want to go somewhere else. We also ask them if they have an interest in learning about the human body and how it works. A lot of them pick up from there and say, yes, that's what I want to do. So we kind of screen them with those 2 little questions in the beginning. And then we do also individualized study and open entry. Our classrooms for short-term classes are open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 4. And students come and go as they please with a minimum number of hours of 8 hours per week. We have been pushed by many environmental factors, business factors, et cetera, but the pandemic actually pushed us harder than anything else. It accelerated us into a mode that we had been thinking about, but had not jumped off that bridge. You know, it's hard when you really know what you're doing and how to do it, et cetera, and how to help people be successful. So everything that we offer in the short-term arena can either be in classroom, it can be blended, which means there'll be classroom portions, scheduled lab practice and scheduled lab checkoffs, or it can be completely online. And we are one of the few schools in the state of Oklahoma that offers that format on such a large variety. And come January, everything will be on that format in the short-term arena. Is it hard? Yes, it's very difficult. It's difficult because you'll look in a classroom and there may be 4 or 5 people in there, but on your schedule, you know, you're dealing with 62 students every day, whether they're online, in the lab, in the classroom, whatever. You can't see the picture of what we're really doing by walking through a classroom. It is amazing. And you know, we have to find a way to train people that fits them and fits business and industry and their needs, because the pandemic basically changed a lot of things. And where everybody wanted to run toward healthcare, a lot of people ran away from it, and we're trying to bring them back. The research indicates right now there's going to, by 2025, the gap is going to be from 200,000 to 450,000 healthcare professionals needed. And that's indicated right here in our back door at the VA downtown Oklahoma City. Yesterday, I have a sister that works there. She's an administrator. She is an advanced practice nurse. She said they have 62 openings right now for nurses, and that includes LPNs, which they have never done before. They had transitioned away from LPNs, but now they're bringing them back in all capacities except for administration. And so that is a really good thing for LPN programs if we can find enough instructors to do that, in classroom space to do that, to train those people. But that is just one hospital in Oklahoma City. The others, some are not quite as desperate as the VA. And part of that is because they have been able to give huge bonuses. You know, across the nation, the Bureau of Labor Stats say the average national nursing salary is right at $68,000. We know that's not here in Oklahoma, but we know that is surrounded by us. But when Oklahoma started giving $25,000 bonus for working for 12 months, and I have a nurse working for me right now as an adjunct, who actually during the pandemic, she was able to do that. And she, for one whole year, she worked at a local facility in a hospital. She is an RN, and she received at the end of that 1 year, $25,000. So those are incentives that we have never seen before. Those incentives also have trickled down to all areas of allied health, the CNAs, CMAs, home health. All of those people are getting bonuses. And I know some of those are $2,500, some of those are $5,000. But to those people like Lara mentioned that don't make more than $10 to $15 an hour, that is a tremendous help in their household. That accelerates their need to do more and maybe to move up that ladder, to go to LPN or another aspect of healthcare training. So those are things we look at and we keep on top of. I also find it interesting that high growth and high demand healthcare professionals, doctors and nurses are only about 40% of all allied health or all healthcare professionals. The other 60% are allied health professionals. And we train those in CareerTech every single day, all day long. So we need not to discount what those CNAs and those CMAs, et cetera, are doing. If you've been in a nursing home, you know who does that physical hard work. You know who knows that resident better than anybody else. and it's that CNA and that CMA. So we really need to make it the format so that they can still work, still come to school, et cetera. And we have done that at Canadian Valley. Administration has allowed us to do that. Now, more than half of the top 30 fastest growing jobs are in allied health professions. And when I recommended Carrie to be on here, when I was talking to Kara, I said, listen, I have office next to her for the whole time she's been at the UConn campus. She knows her stuff. She is who you want. She's who you want talking to them. She has her demeanor, and sorry, Carrie, but I'm just going to talk about you for just a little bit. Her demeanor is so wonderful with students. If you have not had the opportunity to visit with her or to see her in action, you are missing out. She can take a student who is upset, shut that door, and when they come out, they are either crying happy tears or they are hugging her and saying, thank you so much, you know, or hugging their friend in the hallway and saying, she was so great. I've heard that as well. And that no one is afraid to go in Carrie's office that I know of. So thank you so much, Carrie. And that trickles down, that helps us in our adult training at Canadian Valley, because those high school students come to us. Those people that have gone to her classes that are adult students, they have come to us for other training as well, like nurse refresher, et cetera. Once they've gotten their LPN or whatever they've gotten and RN somewhere, and they need a nurse refresher, they come to us and they'll tell me, I remember the counselor. Now, I don't know if all of them were Carrie or not, but if they were like her, I can definitely see that. So make sure, if you have a counselor, make sure that you understand them and you know what they're doing and the value that they have for the entire school and your programs. The hottest jobs, you guys already know it, in 2025, registered nurses, LPN is right in there with a little dash. Pharmacists are coming back. They're wanting more pharmacists, and those are still a master's degree. And so pharmacy technicians are starting to come back to be trained, and they'll use that. They'll work in a pharmacy while they're going to school, a lot of them, and we hear them say that. And then medical assistants. And Carrie is the, Carrie, are you youth counselor for that, or is that? Yes, okay. And Carrie is medical assistant as well. And so we see all of those people. My biggest enjoyment is change. And I know a lot of people don't like change, but if it is good change, I am all about that. We now have all of our curriculum on Canvas. And I know that Carrie has the teachers there have a lot of theirs on Canvas as well. It's very user-friendly. It's very instructor-friendly. When I'm hiring adjuncts from the field, they know their content very well. They know what they're going to teach. Sometimes it's that IT part that they don't have, and we can teach them Canvas very, very easily. So I might say in closing, exposure to different opinions, perceptives, I would say perspectives, also ideas, those things allow us to increase our understanding of our customers' needs and their challenges. And our customers have a lot of challenges. It's a different world we live in than when I was growing up. We are then able to deliver the right training at the right time. And that's the society we're living in right now. We can't just do a good job teaching. We have to do the right training at the right time and help these people be successful, help those students in any way that we can. Questions? No? If anyone is interested in doing open entry, individualized study for the short-term side, I would love to help you. I would love to share what I have and what we have built here at Canadian Valley, because it is not easy to set that up. But once you get it set up, it is so wonderful for your business partners and your students. They're very successful. A lot of our training is one-on-one, and a lot of those students would never succeed without that. Carrie alluded to that. She talked about that.
Well, thank you, Sharon, for sharing what CareerTech is doing to prepare students for careers in nursing. It's always informative to hear firsthand what is happening at our tech centers. And it was very interesting to hear about Canadian Valleys in particular.
Thank you.
You're welcome. These industry speakers have shared great information and have shown us not only how to pursue nursing careers, but also how teachers can help students achieve those dreams. Before we end this session for the day, we're excited to be able to offer 2 gift cards. Brian, who are our drawing winners?
Well, our first gift card winner is Lara Morris from Yukon Public Schools. Congratulations, Donna. And then our second gift card winner, and I saw her here earlier, Joanna Benson from Guthrie Public Schools. So congratulations, Donna and Joanna.
Thank you, Brian, and congratulations to our gift card winners. Thank you so much to Lara Morris, Carrie, Brunk, and Sharon Mitchell. We appreciate you for sharing your experiences and knowledge, as well as supporting CareerTech. I'd like to give a special thanks to my team today for helping launch today's session. I will be sharing our speakers' contact details and any pertinent handouts later today in a follow-up email to our registered participants. If this is your first OEIP experience, we hope you come back. And since you registered for today's event, you are officially on our email list and will start receiving communication about future events. Our next virtual session will be November 29th at 10 a.m. It will feature truck driver training with our CareerTech Workforce and Economic Development Division. Registration is currently open and the link will be emailed to you later today. This concludes our virtual OEIP session. Thank you for your participation and support. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you in late November.